Hello, I'm Kent Mayor Suzette Cook, and welcome to Kent Today, where Kent residents share ideas and solutions on important issues affecting our community. Earlier this year, the Adopt a Street program was introduced in Kent. This program offers residents, local businesses, and organizations an opportunity to beautify Kent by donating their time and energy to pick up litter along streets. Seems simple, doesn't it? With tight city budgets, the city is always looking for creative ways to maintain or improve Kent's appearance. I can tell you this program is a huge help. Removing garbage along Kent roadways not only improves the appearance of our community, it prevents harmful contaminants from entering Kent's waterways. To share the details on this great new program, we have some guests in the studio with us. They are Gina Hungerford, the city's conservation expert and Adopt a Street coordinator; Bill Thomas, Kent Street Superintendent; and some volunteer street adopters. Aaron Small, Adopt a Street volunteer and a relocation consultant for companies. And Liliane Gervais, who has adopted streets in the Saltaire Hills neighborhood on Kent's west side. And a longtime Kent-involved individual, I would say, Adopt a Street volunteer Joe Miles. And he is president of Friends of Seuss Creek Park on Kent's East Hill. So welcome, folks, and what an interesting topic today. I think I'm going to start here with Gina Hungerford from our City Public Works Department, with this area of specialty now that you've taken on, in addition to your recycling duties and such. Give us a sense as to how this all began.
Well, the Adopt a Street program started in April, and really we implemented that in response to the council's strategic goals, one of which is to beautify Kent. And by partnering with residents and businesses, we felt that this would certainly be a wonderful solution for us in light of the economy and, of course, budget stresses that we're all experiencing, trying to get more done with less. So partnering with residents and businesses will really be a good solution to help beautify Kent.
Well, I know that many times, I will admit, I have driven by an area along a street and seen litter along the street and just thinking, why don't the people living there pick it up? Well, I've kind of concluded people get used to it if they allow it to accumulate. And so it kind of, it's a terrible reminder of our level of acceptance on things that aren't good. So are you finding that this is helping to ignite some folks who are saying, I'm not going to take it anymore?
Well, I think that's very true, and we hope so. Actually, the Keep America Beautiful organization did a study a few years ago on litter and littering behavior. And although they did find that the majority of people, fortunately, don't litter, would never think of doing that, the few that do are more likely to do it when an area is littered already. So
the broken window syndrome.
Exactly.
It takes one broken window, then 3, then a dozen. Yeah.
That's right. So by having our volunteers pick up these areas, again, first of all, they're setting a fabulous example for our young people that this is something you don't do, and for other passers-by. And I think by keeping the areas clean and pristine, people are going to be less likely to litter.
Now, Bill,
yes, ma'am.
Talk about what you normally do, because I'm curious. How does this kind of program, engaging our residents, our volunteers from the business community, others, how does this affect your job? So start by telling us, what's your normal job and who do you work with?
Well, I'm with the Public Works Street Department. We manage all the roads and sidewalks throughout the city. And interesting known fact is we have 316 miles of road.
316 miles of road that are Kent roads.
That are Kent roads that we maintain. And a lot of them do, unfortunately have litter on and around them. In the past, it was just our department that would clean up the litter. We'd get calls. We would go out and pick it up. We'd get calls for illegal dump sites to go pick those up. This is a tremendous advantage that we have now on combating litter in our city, is to have Adopt-A-Street partners. And I'm just really excited about that. We have 2 dedicated personnel that actually goes out and picks up litter, and they do that day in and day out, and it's really a help to them. And for our mowing, I mean, it's great to go and get the litter before we mow.
What happens if you don't pick up the litter before you mow?
Well, if you've ever run over a paper plate or a paper with your lawnmower and it sends it into 1,000 different areas, try running over a phone book.
A phone book?
That looks like you've just, creamed the whole area with
Someone
litter.
really has.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Unfortunately, that has happened. So it's much easier to pick the litter up before we mow, and of course there are some things that we have to go through afterwards and pick up as well, things we didn't see before. So having Adopt-A-Street partners, oh man, that is a blessing in disguise here.
So, Erin, how'd you get involved with this?
I actually volunteer with the Kent Police Department and clean up graffiti. And
you're on the graffiti detail.
Yes, and part of what we do is clean up garbage wherever we are to help keep it all clean. And I saw on the Scenes of Kent newsletter that comes to my email that Gina had this fabulous program, and I thought, wow, I can get my company involved in this because we're down in Kent, and perfect way to give back.
So what is your company?
Home Destination Relocation and Real Estate.
And so there's an incentive. If you're going to be relocating people to Kent, you want to show them a clean city.
Definitely, definitely. I also have pride in my community, and helping to clean it up and keep it clean however we can is a great goal.
If I could interject there, they have shown in studies that cities that are clean have greatly improved property values. So
I would think that would, as someone, as a homeowner myself, or a condo owner I should say, there is that tendency to want to make sure that you reflect a positive environment for people when the time comes to sell, even if it's, you don't want to do last minute cleanup, because if you keep up on it, you can't tell it was ever there. If you let it sit around, it somehow still leaves its mark on the environment with garbage and litter. So, Lilian, how about you? How'd you get involved in this?
My neighbor is very community oriented, so she taught me into helping her, and we combine pleasure and good deeds. What we do is that, and that we started some time ago, like last year, and we would go to Fred Meyer's, and on the way to Fred Meyer's, we would pick up the litter. We would put it in grocery bags, hide it behind a bush, go to Fred Meyer's, come back, have a cup of tea, go and get the bags, and go back and put them in our own garbage can. So we had the involvement, we had the pleasure of being together, we talked about whatever was going on in our lives, and then we did something good at the same time.
Oh, that is very neat. So how did you find out about it? Your neighbor had found out about it, how?
Well, we started a year ago, so we were doing it, and when we found out about Adopt-A-Street program, we said that's a seamless transition.
So you were doing your own Adopt-A-Street program before the city ever started it.
Yes. So it was a neat way to get recognized.
Very
for what
good.
We were doing. And it's fun.
So now have you gone some different routes? on your way to Fred Meyer for your tea?
Well, there is only one way to go, but whenever we see paper or bottles, then we pick it up. It doesn't matter where we are, we just do it.
And Joe, I remember how you have been such a stalwart leader in making sure that the Seuss Creek area was cleaned up. What brought you onto the street side?
Well, our group, Friends of Seuss Creek Park, of course, has adopted Seuss Creek Park, which runs along the eastern side of Kent, Covington, Renton, and King County. And probably for 15 to 20 years, we've been cleaning up the park, and it's this wonderful open space that runs along the eastern side of these cities. And there are several parts of the park that are crossed by roadways, and we had been doing litter pickups on the King County road crossings, but this piece was in the city of Kent, and we had heard the program was opening up, so we really wanted to pick up this piece. And a particular point that I want to make is not only the aesthetics and the beauty that goes into cleaning it up, and in this particular area we have a big wellhead for Water District 111 that's served by this area, but Big Seuss Creek Park runs right across 148th Avenue Southeast, the road we've adopted. There's a heron colony within a few hundred feet of the roadway. There are king salmon, Chinook salmon, amphibians. They're all living in these wetlands right next to the roadway. So not only the human members of the community, but the fish and wildlife that are benefiting from cleaning up all the materials that go into the creek is really helpful. And given that we're kind of on the rural edge of the city, we're just not getting, you know, litter, McDonald's cups and bags. We're getting people dropping off truckloads of drywall and paint
Oh, dear.
and treated material and parts of cars. And it just goes right into the wetlands. So to get this cleaned up is not only helping the community look better, but I think really cleaning it up, the water, and the fish and wildlife that live in the community too.
Absolutely. The toxicity from some of those things that you just mentioned would just destroy a wetland.
Yes.
What are some of the strange things you've run across so far, or things that really you went, oh, as you're picking up litter or keeping the streets clean? I assume it's all litter. Maybe there's something else you're doing too.
We found, last Friday, as a matter of fact, we found a dead crow.
A crow.
Crow, and that was the very first time we ever.
And did you
found-
call, what is it, the health department? Do they still want us
It
to
is.
call in case they have, what's that bird disease?
West
That
Nile virus.
West Nile virus?
We didn't know what to do with it.
Maybe that's something you add to the list at
I
informing
should.
the volunteers.
Yeah, very good point. I hadn't actually, I was with Lillian when we found that, and we were watching traffic and other things, and I totally missed out on that. But that is something, if people find dead crows, that they should let the health department know so they can test that animal to see if it has West Nile virus. So.
Yeah.
We found, I mean, the number of years we've been doing it, there's just been a wide range of things we've found. Everything from like the paint and the drywall and cars, but we've also found some bottles, obviously somebody left from a meth lab that
Oh, no.
they had unloaded and set. Of course, then we call Public Works or someone to come pick those items up, but again, it's kind of a rural feel and people think they can just offload it, but it's not common to find purses too that somebody has stolen or robbed something and then they just throw it into the park. So we've found a number of wallets, you know, with no credit cards in them and all kinds of items like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We found a pair of plaid boxer shorts.
Boxer shorts?
Yeah, and it kind of leaves you with the, wow, I really don't want to know the backstory or how it got here. You never want to know. And that's when you're glad you have the picker, the litter picker. And then
Oh, speaking of that, are you going to show us what this is and how it works? We've got a sign here, Litter Crew. So this is really organized. Tell me a little bit more about this. This isn't just a walk in the park, so to speak, it sounds like.
Well, when we recruit our volunteers, of course, they provide the energy and the enthusiasm and the muscle. We, in turn, at the city provide litter nabbers or litter grabber tools. You just punch it and it would pick up anyway, but you pick up the litter and, of course, then put it into your bag. So
that you don't have to handle it?
Right.
Or are you wearing gloves?
And that is something we do supply. Everybody gets these nifty little rubber
They're
gloves.
black.
And hopefully they give you some protection. We do recommend if you have heavier gloves, leather gloves, that would obviously be safer yet, but we do supply these. And of course the well-dressed adopter wears one of these little vests to be sure to be really visible for oncoming traffic.
Even
cars
in the
and so forth.
daylight, I think it's so important with
Exactly.
people a little bit spacey sometimes on their texting or
Well, no, shouldn't be doing
diverted.
that.
I know, shouldn't be doing it.
And of course, they also get the bags to fill. And then, in addition, we also have give our volunteers these little pink flags, so that if they do see something that's hazardous, like maybe some syringes or anything else, also big and heavy things, you know, that they
Like
don't
car
want-
parts.
Right, or tires. We don't want people lifting heavy things and injuring themselves, back injuries and so forth. So they simply stick this in the ground to flag the item, and then Bill's crews come along and pick them up.
So how is this coordinated? Since obviously you must know a schedule of when there's a group clean going on.
Yeah, the volunteers call me and set up a date to let me know. So I do ask them to give me 2 weeks notice before cleaning, because we have a limited supply of the vests and of course the nabbers as well, to make sure that we always have enough pieces or equipment in stock for, you know, when they need it.
So are the vests rotated, or someone like Lillian and Lori?
Erin.
Erin, I did it. Did I call you Lori earlier?
No.
Oh, good. I do that sometimes. Do they have their own vests, since you sound like you're regulars?
No, well, some of them do, but like, for instance, we did a group today from the Great American Casino. They had a group of 15 people, and
Wow.
or 17 people actually, and I only had 15 vests available. And there were a couple of people that joined the group late, and so they had their own safety vests that they wore. So, but yes, we do ask people to let us know well in advance so we can supply the vests for them.
So take this a step further. Are people adopting a section of street? Because that's certainly how it's sounding to me. With Joe, you talked about it being 148th,
Yes.
the north-south route,
Right.
between
256th
256th
and 240th.
and 240th. So between Smith and James, as it would be down the hill, but up there.
We've adopted 84th between 212th and 228th.
So in the commercial sector.
Yes, that's where our office is, right off of 84th, right in between where we're cleaning up the
Yeah.
litter.
And we have 25th and 252nd.
So in the Saltaire Hills neighborhood.
Yes.
Yes.
So we generally ask for a mile. But in some cases it's less, but again, the folks that do these more often, you know, in the end, they're probably doing way more mileage-wise as far as cleaning it up.
So has anyone adopted 256th yet on the East Hill?
I don't recall.
Our group does the piece at that intersection there, not the piece to the west, but where it runs through the park, we clean up that area
On
there.
256,
Yeah.
right there by the park.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm just thinking this could be a great opportunity for we have a lot of refugees, for example, that live in the apartments around Kent Kingley and Benson and 256, that whole area, 248, that giving them something to do as a group where they are participating and giving back to the community. I know many of them would like to, but they don't know the language well enough yet to really be part of an established group. They're a little shy that way.
You know,
Well,
not only, I might add, not only getting out and being part of a group, but particularly in our stretch, people are looking down in the creek and they see fish. I mean, many of these folks don't have an opportunity to go to a national park or see things, but to go through Seuss Creek Park and to see a heron colony up there while you're picking litter, or a salmon in the creek, or a frog, you see people that don't normally get those opportunities get excited not only about picking up the litter, but it's kind of a wildlife nature experience too, to go in some of these
You know,
areas.
Joe, I just came up with an idea. What if your group, if we got a group going around the Kent Kingley Benson area, and you guys did an exchange one time where they went to your area and you got to see their area.
Great
'Cause those
idea.
are two very different urban and rural
Yes.
sites.
Great idea.
Yeah. Okay, Gina, make that happen.
We will give it a try. Here is the map, and we do have that online at kentwa.gov/adopt-a-street program. And this map shows in yellow the streets that are yet to be adopted.
Those are adoptable streets.
Yeah.
They qualify for adoption.
Right.
Well, you know what I would say too, because we do have many neighborhood councils as well. And if they could do residential streets in their neighborhood.
And many of them do that already.
Okay.
Tony Azola has mentioned that quite a few of them have done this in their neighborhoods for some time, so they just haven't officially signed up. So, and definitely people can see this map online at kentwa.gov/adopt-a-street. And there are also forms and applications and all kinds of information on how to sign up for the program, and also pictures of some of the crews that have already done cleanups. So you'll see Erin and Lillian and Joe, their groups, as they
Good.
have been doing their cleanups.
So you have how many groups now? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
There were actually 10 that signed up their applications originally. 6 of them have already done cleanups, and several more are scheduled.
Okay.
Yes, it's very exciting. I really didn't expect to have that many people participate.
One thing we've done is we've tried to pick up on particular days like Earth Day or Make a
Sure.
Difference Day, because those are sort of 6 months apart, and businesses, communities, schools sort of focus on those days, and if you can sort of integrate your cleanup with a national day, you get more participation.
That's right.
So if you were to share a particular message with the audience, what would that be? I'm going to start with Erin.
Just to do it.
Just
to get
do it.
involved. Just jump in and get involved. You'll feel pride of ownership in your community. If you've lived here a long time like I have, almost my whole life, it's a good way to give back. It's not that difficult. It's, an hour to 4 or 5 times a year. It's a good way to, it makes you feel good about your community and getting involved.
Now, did employees from your business also, they're getting out there doing it with you?
Yes.
And they feel it's good too?
They do. Giving back for the company, been in the community for a very long time, so giving back is their goal too.
Wonderful. Lillian?
I think it makes me want to care for the neighborhood, to care for the appearance of the neighborhood. And if you pick up what you see on the streets and the sidewalks, then other people may get the message, or they may stop throwing it away. You get to meet a lot of your neighbors, and people will ask you, well, why do you do it? The simple answer is, I care. I really care. Just make sure that you wear gloves.
Yes.
That's really important.
Wear gloves and make sure you have a trash bag with you.
Yes.
So, yeah, wonderful. Joe?
I think it's the sense that you really do feel better, even though you think the community's going to feel better, you think the wildlife, the environment, the water cleanup, but you really feel better about yourself when you look at the end of the day and you see 30, 40, 50 bags of litter pulled out of the wetland or the ditch along the side of the road. It's a real sense of accomplishment. When you drive through it, it just looks crisper, cleaner, and you feel better about yourself that you really did something good that day.
You made a difference.
Yes, you really do.
Bill?
All I can say is thank you for your volunteerism, and it's a civic pride. It makes me feel good to see this, and it's my pleasure to help you out by picking up what you pick up. So.
Speaking of that, Bill, don't you sit on a certain city council somewhere else?
Yes, I sit on the City of Algona Council.
And are you going to start this program in Algona?
All 3 of our streets, yes.
Way to go. And Gina, in closing.
Well, again, we are delighted to have so many people that are willing to pull up their sleeves. They are, in my book, superheroes. Cleaning up the areas, making the city look good, it's phenomenal. And I encourage more people to participate, to join in. Not only is it getting out there, good fresh air, good exercise, but feeling good and making a difference in your community.
I thank you for taking the leadership on this, and Bill and your team for working with our staff to help make sure this happens and to complement what we can barely get done. For the volunteers, sincerely thank you. My motto has been that this is your city. And while some people think to themselves, well, yeah, but you should do it all, as city staff doing it, you are showing that we can do for ourselves and help stretch those tax dollars. So to keep our taxes as low as possible, but where there's opportunity for citizens to engage in helping to add that quality of life, it has many returns, including for those that are learning a lesson by your doing, that it is possible to have clean streets. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I do find myself overwhelmed by the civic pride and the huge amount of energy that our residents give back to our community. The Adopt a Street program may be right for you and your group, whether a church group, business, or just your neighbors or yourself. For more information, again, contact Gina Hungerford at kentwa.gov or call 253-856-5549. This is your city, and this is a way that you can make certain it's a quality city. We'll see you next time on Kent Today.